Hi guys, good morning, class 7. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are all doing fine and great and you have taken care of yourself. And I hope you guys have gone through the last Tuesday's video on Tuesday, which I gave you the video, and you must have seen it. It was an explanation of the Delhi Sultanate. And with that, also, I have put up a document for notes till where I had explained that whatever my explanation I have given it there on that, so you can read and understand what I was saying. Suppose when I'm talking or when I'm saying something in the video, you might be missing it out, or you must be replaying it. You're not getting you're not getting the actual essence of it. So I've given it in writing also there, so you can judge it and make your own notes. These notes are for lifetime. If you can save these notes and write it down and keep it somewhere, this is lifetime notes. It will never change. This notes can never change. Neither will the dates. Okay, as my birthday date does not change, so it's like that. Then date of 1506 to 1526 will never change. So 320 years cannot change. So that time the Sultanate was there. So I hope you guys have had your breakfast and all. And I guess at the last of my class, by the time I finish the class, I have something to share with you regarding. It's a very personal issue. Personal, you are also very personal to me, class 7. So I'm going to share something which is going to, I guess it's going to help you. I don't know if it's not, but it's my gut feeling is saying that I should share it with you. So let's keep it a surprise. And after I finish this, I'm going to go ahead with that. Okay, so let's start to rock and roll. So it's we were at the Delhi Sultanate. So what happened in the Delhi Sultanate? I'll just brief you as you have the notes with you, so it's going to be easier for you to understand. It was the Islamic Empire. Sorry, fumbled up. The Delhi Sultanate was the Islamic Empire based in Delhi. Okay, stretched over larger parts of the Indian subcontinent, 320 years of ruling, that is 1206 to 1526, and 5 dynasties ruled in that. That was the Mamluk dynasty, or we rather call it the slave dynasty, the Khilji or the Khalji dynasty, the Tughlaq dynasty, the Sayyid dynasty, the Lodhi dynasty. Now the dates of the slave dynasty was 1206 to 1290, Khalji was 1290 to 1320, Tughlaq was 1320 to 1414, Sayyid dynasty was 1414 to 1451, and Lodhi dynasty was 1451 to 1526. That's 320 years complete. So if there are 320 years, so can you imagine how fast, how long will it take to explain? So I just cannot finish the chapter like that. Okay, so we are going to do it in parts and parts. The first ruler was Qutbuddin Aibak, a former Turkic Mamluk Muhammad, a slave of Muhammad Ghori, so on and so forth. And they were Hindu reconquest. The states stayed to themselves. The Vijayanagara Empire, the Mewar Empire, and the new Muslim sultanates in Bengal started breaking off. And 1526, the Sultanate was conquered and succeeded by the Mughal Empire. Okay, so the Sultanates, the Mongols also tried to invade into India. The decline of Buddhism in East India and the destruction of the Buddhists and the libraries. Although there was a huge population of the of laws and customs of the non-Muslim people who were here, and they were following it repeatedly. Repulsing Mughal raiders helped to migrate many fleeing soldiers, learned men, mystics, traders, artists, artisans from the region into the subcontinent, thereby creating a syncretic Indo-Islamic culture. So I had told you what's a syncretic Indo-Islamic culture. It's all about combining different beliefs together. Okay, involves merging of assimilation of several originally discrete traditions. Getting it together, taking from here, taking from there, and getting it into one place, and trying to follow that rule. So that's what it is all about, in short. But if I take it long, it's going to take another class, which I don't want to waste my time with you in just explaining you what is syncretic Indo-Islamic culture. So now I had told you the last class, or rather in the last video, that what is the use of just learning the Delhi Sultanate, because we don't know about Muhammad bin Tughlaq, about Qutbuddin Aibak. Okay, so what happened to him? How did he come into it, and what was the reason for him, and how through him, through who did he come into it and started ruling the Sultanate of India, the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so we'll go just to a backdrop, backlash, a rewind into the past. Like the Turkic migration. What was this actually Turkic migration which happened? There was a migration. People didn't come into the Asian countries from Asia, or they didn't come into this other part of India. So how will they have ruled? So there was a Turkic migration, refers to the expansion of Turkic tribes and Turkic languages into Central Asia. So inside Central Asia, India is also following. Eastern Europe and West Asia were mainly between the 6th and the 11th century. We don't want to go into that. So unless and until there is a migration, people cannot come into our country. It is that, like now Mamluk is most commonly, I had already told you, the freed slaves, or they were working as slaves, as soldiers, and they were converted into assigned military administrative duties, and Muslim rulers of slave origin. They were slaves and Muslim slaves, but they were converted to assigned military works and administrative duties. So that was the time Kutubuddin Aibak must have taken that chance, what do you say, chance pe dance. Okay, so that's the time he got that chance, and he became the Sultan of the Sultanate of Delhi. Okay, now Turkish slaves in the Delhi Sultanate. Now what happened actually with that? Turkish slaves throughout the Islamic world and in the Delhi Sultanate were valued members of society. They had a huge, their aura was huge. Their value for their patrons was their military capabilities. They used to value their people, their loyalty and discipline. Okay, discipline is one thing in life you must have, and loyalty, otherwise you will never rise in life. Their ability to capitalize an opportunity for social mobility while maintaining their own unique cultural ideology. Like the ability to capitalize on an opportunity, ability to rule on top of that, to get hold of that, to capitalize it, an opportunity of social mobility. Social mobility means it's not moving around into the social values, with the socialize with people and getting into their brains and maintaining their own unique culture as well. So they had that inside them, that loyalty and that braveness, and their discipline was there, in which they could control things, and people liked it. Now, the context behind the rise of the Delhi Sultanate in India was a part of a wider trend affecting much as the Asian continent. Okay, Asia, as we know, is the Earth's largest and most populous continent, located primarily in the eastern and northern hemispheres. It shares a continental landmass with Eurasia and with the continent of Europe. Okay, or rather the continental landmass of Afro-Eurasia with both Europe and Africa, also areas covered. We don't want to go into that. So I'm just telling you what was the issue. The context behind the rise of the Delhi Sultanate in India was a part of a wider trend affecting much into the Asian continent, and India was hit more, including the whole of southern and western Asia also. Now, which part is Western Asia? Western Asia is a part of the Arabian Peninsula, Anatolia, or the Sinai, Mesopotamia. These are the various parts separated by Africa and Isthmus, a place in Africa. So these are the places they were hit. Muslims were there. Okay, the influx of nomadic Turkic peoples. What is nomadic Turkic peoples? Nomads was a people travel from place to place. Okay. It's called an ethno-linguistic groups of Central Asia and Northwest Asia, So people who started traveling from one place to another, scholars, you can say learned people, nomadic people, they are travelers, member of the community without fixed habitation, they don't stay in one place. They become traders as nomads, and in the year 1995, there were estimated of 30 to 40 million nomads in the world. People traveling around, we call them gypsies now. People travel due to trade, they go from one country to another. So that's why, because of the nomadic Turkic people, these things, they started coming into India and they came to know the Central Asian whole places stretches from the Caspian Sea to Western China, Mongolia, and from Afghanistan, Iran, Russia. They came to know this full part. Okay. So this is how it happened. This can be traced back in the 9th century when Islamic Caliphate began fragmenting in Middle East. Okay. Now what's a caliphate? A caliphate is, Middle East is, the region includes the Western Asia and all Egypt, Turkey, Iran. The term actually is beginning of the 20th century, the Great Middle Far East, adds to Sudan also. Okay. It goes into Sudan, Maghreb, Sudan. So these are the places where you get oil only. So they are very rich people out there. And the caliphate is actually an Islamic state under the leadership of an Islamic steward with the title of Caliph, a person considered a politico-religious successor to the Islamic prophet Muhammad and a leader of the entire Ummah. So with the help of religion and the head of it, and being they had the knowledge of politically and religiously also they had the knowledge, so they were made the head after their prophet Muhammad. That was the Caliph. The Caliphate or the Caliph used to take care, began fragmenting in the Middle East. So in the Middle East this Caliphate started happening, where Muslim rulers in rival states began enslaving non-Muslim nomadic Turks. Now at the same time Muslim rulers started taking in non-Muslim slaves as well, nomadic Turks from the Central Asians, and raising many of them to become a loyal military slaves called the Mamluks or the slave dynasty. Soon the Turks were migrating to Muslim lands and becoming Islamicized. They were going into Islam. Many of the Turkic, or you can say I had told you earlier, I'll just tell you, the Turks, the Turkics were the people who, linguistic group, in the Northwest Asia and Europe. Okay. So they were the Turks. So they started coming into Asia and they started taking non-Muslim nomadic Turks also. Okay. And they were called the Mamluks. They were taken as slaves, then they were used for military because of the loyalty, the Mamluks, the slaves, and then they were transformed into Muslims, and then they became Muslims and they were called the Mamluks or the slaves because of the loyalty. This is how the Mamluks came in. And so who is a Mamluk? So Qutbuddin Aibak was a Mamluk. Okay. Qutbuddin Aibak's full reign was called the Mamluk dynasty or the slave dynasty. From there it started happening. Okay. Now what happened is, the basic thing is, it's already 13 minutes. I'm going to come back in the next video, and because if it goes above 15 minutes, sometimes it does go above 15 minutes if the net is slow. It takes time to upload again. So okay, I'll take it till 15 minutes, no problem. We have still 2 minutes in hand. So this is what actually happened during that time. So these people, non-Tamluk people, non-Turkic people who were taken as slaves, were converted into Muslim and were called Mamluks, the slave dynasty. Soon Turks were migrating to Muslim lands. Many of the Turkic also were trying to change, okay, and they were soon Turks and to Muslim lands and becoming Islamicized. Now what is Islamification is the process of a society shift towards the religion of Islam and becoming Muslims. Okay, so they were converted into Muslims. Understand, some people, those who were not Muslims, were converted into Muslim to spread the Islam also. Okay, so what happened is, many of the Turkic Mamluk slaves eventually rose up to become rulers and conquered a large parts of the Muslim world. Got my point? So during that conversion which was happening, these guys, the Mamluks, the slave dynasty, they started taking that opportunity and rose up to become rulers, because they were all in the military and they were having positions. So that is what happened actually. Okay, so that is how the thing started happening and the thing started take change. So, establishing Mamluk sultanates from Egypt to Afghanistan. Okay, they became friends with them, so they were Muslims, they had no problem. They started making their sultanates from Egypt to Afghanistan before turning their attention to the subcontinent. Okay, am I clear till here? Okay, so now what happened is they were slaves and they were converted into Muslim Islam by the caliphates and all, and they were following it, and then they started traveling to Muslim lands or Islamic lands. And then what happened, as they were in the military, they had that source, they had the power, they were loyal, they were disciplined, they had brains, and they started making their own sultanates in Afghanistan and in Egypt, Africa, before thinking about our country. And at that time we were damn rich, and our natural calamities were very rich, and our source of culture was rich, our source of land was rich, everything was rich. India was very rich at one time. We could have been America, we would have been the number one, but forget about that, we'll not go deep into it, so let's not talk about it. So this is how they changed their mind, and the Mamluks the slaves became the sultanates in Africa, Egypt, and parts of Afghanistan. Then they started hitting into the Indian subcontinent. Okay, so I'll come back in the next video and I'll explain it to you. Bye bye.